In this episode, we're going to do some very elementary troubleshooting on an electrical system, and in this case, my 31-gallon North Star sprayer. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Tim and Joel. Welcome to Midwest Hunting and Outdoors by Two Dumbasses,
A podcast about the outdoors, hunting,
and being a steward of the land. Welcome to Midwest Hunting and Outdoors by Two Dumbasses. In this episode, we're going to do some troubleshooting on basic electronic systems, and the example we're going to use here is Tim's sprayer.
Yep.
So Tim, where do we want to start with this?
So first off, we had just completed the retrofit, and I had tested the sprayer on my electrical system, and it worked great, and then when I got in the field it died. So gosh, where do you begin, right? So the first thing, since I did some rewiring here, and let me tell you, hey, I'm no electrician. I know that, hey, we want to wire things so that they're not going to have shorts and stuff. So my first thought was, it was my splice. So I peeled off my splices, and I had great connectivity. So I'm thinking, there's got to be a better way. And so a good friend of mine, the guy who helped us put in our solar-based aeration system, Dennis McVeigh, had me buy this Fluke. This is a Fluke, and it is a T5 1000. And his thought process is he's very familiar with this. If I have any problems, I could always call him because he's so familiar with this. And this is technically called a tester. But anyway, so I knew enough on here to be dangerous. So the first thing I started to do is it's got 3 settings: volts, amps, and then this other one's called continuity. And so I turned it to continuity, and continuity for us simpletons is really about electrical pathway. Do I have a complete pathway? So, and Joel had a great analogy earlier. Think of it as I have a water hose, and I've got water coming out of it. But how often does this happen to us where it gets creased, and now all of a sudden we're not getting any water? And that's what this is testing. Hey, did anything get creased that's preventing us from getting electricity?
Will the electric current go from point A to point B, and that's what it measures, right?
That's right.
Cool.
So in this case, the first thing I would test is I want to test the electrical system for my pump to my sprayer. So I turn it to continuity, which is the very top option. What you see here is, and all of us have this molded plastic, the stuff that's molded here, the plastic that's got the insulation around it, is the hot section, and this is our ground. In this case it's red, so does not matter. So we're going to take these multimeter prongs, and we're just going to put, it doesn't matter which color, we're going to put one in here and one in here, and you hear that beep off this Fluke is telling me, hey, you have continuity. Now I already know what the reading is on it. It's going to read a 2, and that 2 is telling me, hey, we got a little bit of a resistance, and that resistance is coming here through this pump. But anyway, that's how you check in for pathways. Well, in my problem solving, this was working great. So then the next thing came down to, and yes, this is a big electrical harness. So basically I have this little apparatus here that plugs into my cigarette lighter, and then I have a toggle switch here which is either on or off. And I really like it actually, because when I'm pulling the sprayer, I could easily just let go of that and it stops spraying. I don't have to worry about it, and then I just put it back on when I'm ready. So I could easily turn this to an on-off switch if I wanted to, but this works great for me. So Tim, this just plugs into here, right? Yep.
And so because you tested this, you're pretty confident from here to here this is good.
It's good.
And now the next thing to test is from here to wherever.
Yeah, so what we would do, and this is a new one, we would actually plug this into the cigarette lighter. I'd have to turn this on, and I could test for continuity. Or here's another way I could do it. I could pull this apart. Yeah, thanks for holding that, Joel. Oh, I gotta. So
let me.
I need you to hang on to that
yeah.
because I've got to keep this as well. So we have continuity here, right? So then the next thing is I'm going to plug into the ground, and we have continuity. So we know that that's all working. But now if I were to not get a beep, then I know I have a problem. I would either have a problem here or here.
Pardon me. Technically, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean it would also tell you, is it with the power side or is it the ground side?
That's right. All right, so then the other thing is let's say, hey, I think it's in this accessory. Now this one doesn't look like I can take it apart, but the one that I had, actually you can unscrew this and there's a fuse in here, so I could check to see if the fuse is blown. There's also a fuse over here, but we already know that that's working, so I would check the fuse first. The next piece that we would do is start to peel it apart and see, gosh, is the wiring intact? And in the old unit, that's what we found. The wiring had burned up and it wasn't worth the repair.
Yeah, so stay with us. We're going to go inside and we're going to show you that old unit and then do some testing on it just to show you, give you a visual of what that looks like.
Close up.
Yeah.
All right, welcome. We're inside. It is really hot outside, so it's nice to be in the air conditioning. But Tim, what'd you find? Let's give them a visual of what defect you found and how you got there.
We'll get you a close up of this, but essentially this was that wire that came out that went right to the trigger switch, and then what you saw here, this is where the cigarette lighter attachment goes into that accessory, into the ATV. And we knew we had a problem, so as I mentioned earlier, we unscrewed it, we checked the fuse is in great shape, and then as it had one bolt, so we were able to peel this apart, and what we were able to find is this wire was supposed to be welded together and it had burnt through, and it's a pretty thin little wire. And so again, I did all my analysis, and again, I'm a novice electrician at best. And so what I did was I did all this check. I validated with Dennis, and then I went up to our local Napa store. If you have a local Napa store, those people are super knowledgeable. I couldn't speak enough compliments for them.
Yeah, we're not sponsored or affiliated with Napa in any way. It's just that they're super helpful.
Yeah, every time I go up there, this is pretty much the service I get. So I go up and I talk to the gentleman. I told him, hey, pretty sure I need a new cigarette lighter attachment. He asked me what we were doing, just to make sure, hey, it was designed to deliver. It's a 15 amp fuse. He ended up tearing this all apart. We tested the fuse just like I did. He validated. I did not get to the wire, but he saw the wire, and he said, yeah, this is shot. So, and he did everything that I just explained to you on checking for continuity or electrical pathways. So I think that's a very good first step to try to isolate where the problem is, and then what's causing the problem is the next step of your problem solving. So this is certainly about understanding that situation.
Yeah, if I could take 30 seconds to share my recent experiences is on a trailer, rewiring a trailer, lights weren't working. So my brother actually recommended going to Harbor Freight, and I bought, I'm not kidding, I think it's like $8. It might be $8 or $13, but similar
tester. Yep.
Tester. And so the connectivity piece on that, so if you can imagine, is it in the harness? Is it a broken wire? Or you're not grounded on your trailer? There's light bulb burnout. There's a lot of different areas where the trouble could be. And in my case, that tester helped me find there just wasn't one problem. There was at least two, and probably three. But so these testers can really save you a lot of time and a lot of headache, and they're pretty easy to use.
Yeah, and we didn't even go through the volt or the amp piece. That's a whole nother level of problem solving. But again, this was able to identify exactly where that situation was happening. This was a much simpler problem than what Joel was trying to do.
Yeah, so do yourself do yourself a favor and get a tester. You will use it eventually, right? You will use it,
100%.
and it's going to save you a lot of headaches and probably some money, because it probably will save you from taking it in somewhere and having to pay someone to do the same thing.
That's right.
Yeah. Anything else, Timbo, that we missed or we want to share?
I don't think so. I hope this was helpful. Again, just trying to share out some of our learnings. And if you got any questions or comments, feel free to put those in our episode. So we'll get back to them as soon as we can.
Until then, though,
Be
safe, have fun, and get outdoors. Thanks for listening or watching our show. We have some exciting topics and guests coming up.
We ask that you subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
We look forward to hearing your suggestions for topics,
Questions and comments. This is Two Dumbasses signing off. Until next time,
be safe,
have fun, and get outdoors.